Hey, gang, here we go. The Huskers need to tap into the strength that is former Huskers. Lock in.
You are Locked On Huskers, your daily podcast on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, gang, DP here. 937 Ticket in Lincoln, America. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first watch. Listen each and every single day. I'm a bit fired up for this one, so buckle up. I'm going to go into a space that may make some people uncomfortable. And if it makes you uncomfortable, it means it landed and it's right. I want to thank the folks from FanDuel for making this stuff happen, these episodes, these podcasts happen. This is good stuff. FanDuel.com/lockedon. Here's the way it works. No sweat first bet up to $1,000 is bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Look, I'm not telling you what to do with your money, but I'm telling you, if gambling is your thing, if betting is your thing, if the numbers are your thing, FanDuel.com is the place for it and the space for it. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. I'm a little fired up because here's what we're talking about with the University of Nebraska and the football program. The beauty of Nebraska football is its success. It has a playbook. Anybody that's involved in football understands the value, depth, and character of the playbook. It is a statement of who you are. Like if you want to ask a coach about the culture, he's going to go to his playbook. He'll go to his rules of engagement, but he'll go to his playbook. And his playbook, in that playbook, if it looks like calligraphy and there's circles and there's it's the swervy, the old game we had as kids where you have the little circles, you draw it, and then you take another thing with a different shape. And if it looks like that, your playbook's too cute. Your playbook is asking too much of too many people. It's asking for every elite person to be elite on every single play. But if your playbook looks like, here we are with an engineering degree, and the lines are direct and solid and formed, and the foundation is built, and in the core of it, you can see where the strength of it is, and it sets boundaries and lanes. And I go back to the Vince Lombardi days of him, that video that everybody knows, and he draws it up, and it doesn't take a geography, he doesn't need a functions degree to go through and draw up these plays. He gets you a lane. We got a block here. We got a block here. And then we're going to run it right up in this lane, right up. That's Nebraska football in a playbook form that if you can't explain it simply, it's too complicated. Keep it simple, stupid. Because the most easily fixable thing is something that's simple done well. And your ability to explain to a 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old on a regular basis that where you need their head, how you need that, what level do you need their helmet to be at? Where do you need their eyes to be? Where do you want their hands to be? What should the next step be? And the best way to point those things out, ready for this? Get your expertise from experts. People that know what it takes to be successful at the University of Nebraska at football. If I'm going to go into a hospital, I'm not going to ask the janitor to perform a surgery. I'm going to find a surgeon and a specialist, one that knows where everything is in that space, in that hospital, in that room, and it knows the talent level of the people required. Because the surgeon knows what's required, how it's required, at what level and what pace it needs to be required, and he knows what assistance he needs. He knows what help he needs. He needs somebody that knows the hospital. They knows where the medicines are. They know where the equipment is. You got to stop doing surgery in the dark. Look, Nebraska fans, I'm simply going to say, Nebraska fans deserve people who love Nebraska football to serve Nebraska football. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a coaching staff filled with former Husker players, but I'm also saying it wouldn't be the worst thing that's happened to Nebraska football in the last 10 years. If you decided to tell me that you're going to run a certain defense, one that tells me your understanding of said defense has to be elite, and I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying it needs to be elite. Then you need people who can explain how to play it at an elite level at the place that you're going to ask them to play. Now, you asking somebody to play at Baylor or at Temple or at Rutgers or at Southern Missouri, Southern Mississippi, okay. But there are people in this community, in this space, that know what it takes to be successful at the highest level, including the University of Nebraska. You have former players who are sitting in this community who love Nebraska football. And you saw how close I got to the camera on that? They love Nebraska football. They've left body parts on the field. They've left skin in the game. They've gotten injuries. They've made sacrifices. They've given up things that other student athletes got to do because they cared so much about the University of Nebraska football program. And I know people want to have people that they're comfortable around them. And that if you're given the head coach job at the University of Nebraska, you have earned the right to choose who you want to work with on a daily basis. Bravo. Yes. But when we come back, there's an answer to the but. There's things that follow that but. More Locked On Huskers. Welcome back. Locked On Huskers. I'm DP. Yeah, I got a little fired up because it matters. It matters. Thanks for making Locked On Huskers your first watch listen each and every single day. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you. You can put how angry you are in the comments. Go ahead, have at it. But I needed to get this out of my chest and out of my heart. Like, follow, subscribe. Please do that if you would. Greatly appreciate it. Comments there. You know how to direct message because you guys are really good at it. Your second watch of the day should be Locked On College Basketball Bracket Breakdown. National analysis, great insights from our experts. Locked On College Basketball Bracket Breakdown has everything you need to make the most informed decisions on your bracket. Informed decisions. Let's put that in air quotes. Informed decisions. Find the episode on Locked On College Basketball Bracket Breakdown wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. I said it's really like every coach who's given a head coaching job has earned the right to choose who they want to be on their coaching staff. I applaud that. I have mad respect for that. Mad respect. I've been on coaching. I've built coaching staffs. I've been brought in to fill coaching staff, and I guarantee you, whatever decisions were made, somebody disagreed with them, and somebody thought there was another way to do that. But the expert in the room is the head coach who makes the choice. What I would hope is that in choosing people that you want to work with, that you also choose people who know the space that you're working in. They know the campus. They know the community. They know the power boosters. They know the power brokers, who are those behind the scenes Wizard of Oz people who are working the levers and who make things happen. People who know what it's like to be a football player at the University of Nebraska. Nebraska fans are tough, and Nebraska fans agree with me or disagree with on this. You can talk about whether you agree with the rest of it, but Nebraska fans and Nebraska alums will tell you, guys who played the game here and guys who lived it. Guys who lived it, who sat in the stands and cried tears of joy and felt tears of pain. Nebraska football is not like anywhere else. It means more. They literally will tell you Nebraska football means more here. So for you to walk in, I'm new here. I had to come in and deep dive, and I mean deep dive, to learn the history and to give it the proper respect. I wouldn't dare say that after 3 years in Lincoln that I know everything about Nebraska football. I don't. That's part of why I want to do this podcast. It makes me learn every day. But there is a community of former Huskers who were elite in how they prepared. They were elite in how effective they are. They were elite at the level in which they produced. They were elite in the level that they elevated Nebraska football to being a blue blood program and for stretches, the elite football program in the country. A lot of these same players went on to the NFL and learned the game at a level that I'm never going to know. That as a fan, as much as you think you know football, you're not going to know what the people who have bruises and broken bones and who have been in those hours and hours and hours of meetings and film study. Folks that know what type of strength and conditioning you're going to have to work from to be successful at the University of Nebraska. They know what it takes to beat powerhouse programs. They know the amount of sacrifice that's required. They know what the players are going through emotionally. They know what players are dealing with. They know what the weight and the strength and the worry and the burden is. They actually know. And if you're not tapping into those resources, you're missing it. You're missing it. To have experts in your space and the profession that you're in, to have them available to you and accessible to you, and to not tap directly, fully into them, to not engage in full. And the people who built the thing that you're tasked with taking care of, they built it. It wouldn't exist. All the perks and benefits and assets and resources that you now are in charge of, these are the people who built it. They wouldn't exist. You wouldn't have them without these people. And it's disrespectful to walk in and say, you know what? I'm going to go elsewhere to get my information and resources about the University of Nebraska football. I'm not saying that Matt Rule isn't tapping into resources, because he is. He's putting himself out there and he's running the streets trying to get as much information as he can. But it's kind of silly. It's kind of silly for me that if you have those professors of football, those folks with PhDs in football, those people with PhDs in Nebraska football available to you, to not tap into them as a resource in full, it worries me, because that could strike me as an ego thing and not a professional thing. See, the business of this thing is to honor all of the greats who built it. As my hat says, to be in this space and not engage Tom Osborne, Coach Tom Osborne, Dr. Tom Osborne, would be a waste of of a very valuable and unique resource. And to not fully engage with the products and the fruit of Coach Tom Osborne and his character, his integrity, his way, his thinking, his brilliance would be a waste of valuable assets, valuable intellect, valuable passion, and valuable love for Nebraska football. Now, for anybody that's bothered by that, I'm sorry. But there are some great former Huskers who are sitting around the program, looking over the fence, trying to share what they know about the thing that they care about the most. And how we know they care? Well, they cared enough to build it in the first place. That's why it's here. That's why it exists. We'll close out Locked On Huskers when we come back. I told you I was in my feelings about this because I talked to some fans in Lincoln in the Haymarket directly, literally standing on O Street, and it became the question. I was asked several questions about the people who were leading the program. And I raved that I thought they had the right level of passion. They had the right level of, they certainly are knowledgeable about football. And then they asked, but why wouldn't there be, more people connected to the greatness that is Nebraska football? I didn't have an answer. I don't know. That would be left for coaches who know. That's not a thing I can speak on with expertise, but I can tell you that there are former Husker players who would make great additions to the coaching staff, at least to the consultant staff, maybe to the recruiting staff, possibly to the scouting staff. I mean, if you're going to scout football, there are people who are as great in that space that are connected directly to University of Nebraska football that they could pick their brains up. And you can get into all the analytics and the cuteness that you want, but the reality is talking about football and the breakdown of football are two entirely different things. And there are folks here who know what football is about. They know the mechanics of it. They know the emotion of it. They know the psychology of it. They know the mentality behind it. They know all those things. And if you're not picking the brains of those intelligent former Huskers, those brilliant former Huskers, and there's no question, whether you agree with me or not, that there are some formidable, wonderfully built, foundational Nebraska Huskers. You can't argue that with me. There are folks that are out there that could help this football program be everything it is. And look, the end game is this. Are you doing everything that you can do to make this program the great elite program that it was, that it should be, and that the fans deserve? That's the question to roll out on. Again, thank you for hanging out with me, Locked On Huskers. Thank you for making Locked On Huskers your first watch and listen each and every single day. Your second listen should be Locked On College Basketball. Greatly appreciate you hanging out with me, but jump on over and join Isaac and Andy as they break down college basketball at the highest level that gets you the best coaches, best players, all the insight that you could possibly need and want. You can find it there on Locked On College Basketball. You can find it on YouTube or wherever you consume your podcasts throughout the day. We'll close with the three words that we love so much. And all the passion and fire that I've exhibited today is because Go Big Red.